Hello and welcome to This Week in Property. I'm your host Richard Swan, and in today's show we are bringing someone else underneath the Property Pros spotlight. A property pro, a professional, someone who's out there in the trenches, getting stuff done, finding deals, working on things for investors and partners and all sorts of stuff that's going on, and just kind of picking apart what is their story, what is it they're doing, because there's so many things that you can do inside the world of property, and it's always brilliant. I really enjoy it, finding out what different people are up to in different areas of the country, different strategies, different tactics, so on and so forth. So who do we have? This handsome gentleman here, none other than Kristoffer Dalziel. Hello, sir.
Hi.
Welcome in the show.
Thanks very much.
You bit nervous?
I've never done anything like this before, so it's...
No need. We're here. We just chatting about property. Just two guys in the game chatting about stuff. Now, you've got so much to chat about. A lot of the guests in the show, I don't know them.
Right.
You know, I'm just kind of meeting them for the first time, and maybe they're running companies or doing some kind of development stuff, and you're starting to get to know them. But to be fair, and let folks know, put out the table, I already know of you.
Yeah.
Because we both know each other through Paul McFadden's Property Project programme, and I've just seen some of the stuff you're doing. It's just incredible. I thought we've got to have you on and chat, because it's right, there's so many different things you can do in property. So I want to know your story, your unique path that you're doing, and plans and stuff you got for the future as well, you know. So before we talk about property and what you're up to now, what's the deal before property? What was, you know, your life like before that? Were you doing a different career, different background?
Yeah, so I was done quite a few things. So left school, was just messed about for a bit, and was working in quick fit, selling car insurance and stuff. Ended up being a holiday rent for Club 18 to 30 for a couple of summers.
Can I talk about that?
No. So I was in Ibiza, I was in Carvos, Magaluf, like doing all the party stuff. And then I came back and I was just bouncing about from job to job, and I ended up in business-to-business sales at Yale, and then ended up in recruitment, which I've done quite well with. And then when I was in recruitment, that's how I kind of got into property. So I kind of became an accidental landlord to start with. So
Seriously?
so I basically don't speak to my mum and dad. He moved out when I was like 16, then my mum moved out no long after and kind of left me with a house. So then I had that and I sold it in like 2017. So I'm actually gutted looking back, because we sold it at 72 and they're worth about 115 now.
Oh, I see.
So
Always look back in the numbers.
so it's a bit I got with that, but I kind of just fell into it. I had a pot of cash sitting at like 25, and I'm like, well, what can I do with this here? So my uncle was an accountant, quite successful. My uncle retired 8 years early because of property, so I went back to college to do accounting, kind of followed his footsteps, and then I started getting properties as well. So I kind of just fell into it, and then you know what it's like, you start to do things and then you research into it a bit more, and then before you know it, you're in the rabbit hole and you're looking at all sorts of things you didn't even know was possible.
But that's the thing, isn't it? Because you know, you see a couple of the shows in the telly, oh, that's property, and you see something else, oh, is that property as well? Then you see something else, wait a minute, is that property? And all of a sudden it's like the whole horizon opens up in front of you, doesn't it?
It's crazy, it's mad. So like, I was your typical kind of preferred investor, as you'd call it. So I was just looking for, on your right moves, buying lets, like I'll take anything. Oh, I need to invest just in Airdrie and Cold Bridge, because that's where I kind of live.
That was your kind of area.
And then you just start to broaden your horizons. And then obviously, through doing the accounting, I moved to Newcastle to get a job at PwC. So it's like one of the big four. So I thought, I'll go down there, it'll be brilliant. Obviously, get away from my mad mates that like to party and become an accountant. So just from doing that, that's how I kind of delved into property more, because I had a brand new place that I lived in. I had no network, and you start doing, you're friends with people because you get the same passion. So you'll go golfing with someone, you become friends, you like golf, play five-a-sides. In property, you meet people because you're into property, and just from there, it's just kind of spiraled. But during COVID, I did the fixed percentage return with Richard Dixon.
Oh, right.
And from speaking to him, he was just like, every day, you need to do protege, and then he's like, you honestly, I need, and then he stopped saying it, and eventually I said to Paul McFadden, because we were on a chat on WhatsApp, I says, right, what's the deal with this protege then? So phoned Sean and booked on, and then since then, everything's just done a complete 180. You think you know everything, because I had 10 buy-to-lets getting into protege, and you think you know everything, and I sold this and that, and it's just obviously, after protege for a couple of weeks, I couldn't really think straight, because everything's just going, but in a good way, if you get me. So I was driving back to Newcastle that night, I couldn't sleep, but at the same time I felt as if I'd run a marathon. I was that tired, because like your brain's just going that much information. And then just obviously from there just kicked on.
Certainly. That's such a hard then became aware of you.
Yeah.
Seeing your journey and seeing what you've been up to, it's just been incredible. Absolutely amazing. And in Newcastle, you still doing stuff down there as well?
Yeah, he is.
Yeah.
Newcastle's my patch, but I sourced a deal in Airdrie not long ago for an investor, so
Wow.
you'll get stuff come up from time to time, and obviously when I came out of Protégé, I hit my existing network, and everybody all went to Scotland, so you'll kind of co-source with maybe people, or you'll speak to someone in the tribe and match up a deal and invest and stuff like that. But
Yeah.
I've started to kind of build myself down there in Newcastle. My first deal, actually, I remember asking you for finance on it, and you rejected it. So that,
I don't even remember that one.
that ended up being an all money out, actually, even after paying
did
the
it?
investor. So but at the time when I came out of Protégé, I came out flying, doing the viewings, doing this, doing that. Got this deal, and then things started to slow up a bit. I had a block of 6 flats that was with an investor who had like 100,000 followers on Instagram. That get downvalued 30% by the bridging lender, even though we had a comp on the same street that week for like 55k, he was getting for 45. So all the things that could go wrong did.
It did.
So like I had that when I came out of Protégé, and then things started to slow up and things just falling apart all the time, and I was blaming other people. Oh, he's done this, it's fell apart because of him. And Richard said to me, he's like, mate, you need to just look at yourself, what could I have done better? And then just see after that, I thought to myself, I'm just going to change my mindset, because at this point at PwC, they weren't really happy with the property stuff because they want a pound of flesh out yet. So we were kind of at loggerheads because of that. And then I decided anyway, my missus, I says, this isn't for me. I'm going to move to a smaller firm that enjoy me doing the property stuff outside of work.
Right.
So I moved to a smaller firm, laid the cards on the table saying, this is the deal with the property. Oh, we're fine with it, but I think they thought it was not much, do you know what I mean? And then a couple of weeks in, I was away to Switzerland to meet the investor and pulled in the office of the partner the next week. Can you stop posting LinkedIn? And kind of had a wee dig about it as if it was pie in the skies. Like, you're in here and you're doing, because you're only on 25 grand a year because it was a trainee contract.
Sure.
But he's like, you're in here like working for that, but then you're talking about buying these houses. There's a bit of friction because I didn't really care, basically. But in the meantime, for joining UNW, I've got from PwC, I had gardening leave for a month. So I said to my missus, right, this is a month where I'm just going to give it all and then build momentum, basically.
Right.
So the guy I bought the old money out of the agent, I messaged him in the January 1st and I said, look, I'm buying again. Like, if you got anything, I says, I'm happy to give a wee referral for anything as well. And he brought me 3 off-market deals that week. So I took all 3 of them. Someone in the tribe took one. I remember posting about it in the group and I was going to keep it for myself.
Right.
And then I had a missed call from someone in the group saying, I'd really like that deal from you. So I'm not going to knock that back because he's quite well known in the group and he's really good. So
Fair.
I suggest he took 3 off him, and then he get quite paranoid after that because he says, you're taking all these ones off me when I thought it was going to be maybe one every other time. So he's doing a 1 in, 1 out at the moment, but basically I'm taking everything he's got. And
It's good.
I just need to find 10 of him, basically, because I'm at the stage now where you're doing all this stuff, you're doing your investment meetings that are not going well, and then like, you take it into the next one, and then you're just building the confidence. You start to do deals, the deals are going through, and then the refurbs are going through, so you've now got your proof of work on your LinkedIn and stuff.
Exactly.
And then from there,
Record.
and Billy says at Protégé about being the lighthouse. So when I came out of Protégé, I'm like, right, I've not got deals to talk about. Let's just talk about my own properties, which I felt put me ahead of some people because people come in here with nothing, basically. No experience. So
Then you start with
I just spoke about the mistakes I've made. I've bought them blind. I've used maybe bad sources in the past. I've used good sources. So I thought, right, I can combine all this because I was an investor and still am. And like, what good parts was there? What can I avoid? Use my accounting degree and my finance degree to my knowledge as well. So I use that in my favour because I'm quite negative with the numbers on the comps and stuff like that. So for example, I've got a flip going through at the moment. The comps are saying about 250, but I'm pitching at 240. So if I get 240, brilliant. 250, I've over delivered to the investors.
I love that.
So that's quite good because you're quite negative by nature rather than to try and make it fit.
That's right. That's a brilliant point, actually. And because there is that trap.
Yep.
I'm going to over-egg this. I'm going to overestimate this. And then you just end up in trouble.
Yep.
Whereas if you're conservative on those numbers, if you are more negative on those numbers, everything else is a bonus.
Aye.
Because if it still works at that lower level, let's call it that, then you're winning anyway.
Aye.
And if it goes above it, it's all cherry on the cake, isn't it?
Yeah, that's what I say.
It's the wrong way.
So when I'm doing like my comparables and stuff, I do everything you teach in there, and then I've got like your property market intel, and just try and back up the software. I'll speak to maybe 3 agents. Right. So when I go to them, it's like, right, these 3 agents have said this. I trust this one's opinion the most. right, here's the comp saying this, here's what you're looking at, but I always go lesser because I'm like, I don't want you taking this deal hoping to get that, and then you get downvalued 10 grand, and then all of a sudden I'm the bad guy.
That's right.
So I'd rather go, right, let's go in at 80 grand, for example, and you get the 90, it's a bonus. So one this morning that an investor took, I said to him it's going to be about 100 grand, but we think we'll probably get about 105, 110 off the remortgage. So I said to him, I'd rather you did this off the 100 rather than take it off that, and that means I've done my job better. And then the next time he goes, well, I went to Kris and he was really professional, but at the same time, I wasn't trying to force it on them, saying, you need to take this, it's going to be this and this. I've been realistic to them. Yeah, but the thing is, like, I've done property, like, beforehand, I used the sources and things like that.
Yeah.
It's a big thing for someone to do. It's a big financial decision.
Aye.
And if they're trusting you, this guy's from Derby, he doesn't know anything about Newcastle, so he's trusting me. So that's your reputation on the line there if you balls it up, basically. So you want to just make sure you do the best job, but I go on everything with a long-term mindset. So the guy wants to build a portfolio, and I want to be sourcing them 5, 10, 15 properties, do you know what I mean? I'm not just wanting a quick hit, get the fee off and disappear.
With problems that someone else might do.
Exactly.
Yeah, you've got a relationship there with him.
Yeah, so he's coming up in a couple of weeks. So one of the things I found really good is just like, I'll speak to people on the phone and they'll say, I don't maybe see the value in this area. I'll just say, come up. And I'll show them around projects I'm doing, I'll show them areas I'm buying in, and then it gets a lot of buy-in from them, because you look on Google and you look, right, that's 5 miles away from the city centre, I'm not buying there. It doesn't tell the story. It's got its maybe on the economy in there, like you'll get good rentals in here. Right, this area is maybe a bit rougher, but if you got a good agent on side, because I've got one that grew up in the area, got the all money out, which is a rough area. She had it tenanted within 2 days at 475 a month, because she knows the area inside out. So like, if you've got folk like that on side, then it's worth buying in these areas, because you're going to win. And then obviously, like the area I've bought in, I keep talking about it, it's quite rough. But there's a 220 new build development going in to start there. There's a new build development at the back. There's a few commercial resis going in, so that's going to all the value.
Your area's going to lift
a lot of bolts. So
aye, you've got your kind of finger in the pulse there.
Aye.
That's the thing about it.
From just kind of doing the deals with people and building relationships, like they see you're genuine, and then things start coming to you. So you do the Facebook ads. I had a guy come through. My company's called Quick Sale Gateshead, and obviously when you answer the phone, it doesn't sound like a thing you don't sell in it. So this guy's like, who are you? He's like, are you a lead generation company? I was like, no, I live next to the Metro Centre. All right, come see my property. So he's got 49 properties.
Right.
And he's said to me, right, look at this one, and it's up for 195 grand. So he's thinking, right, give him the most expensive to see how he goes. So I'm doing a flip on that one. I managed to get him down to 165.
Right.
It's got a new roof. It's had a new boiler, rewired 2018. So I'm going to convert it to 2 to 3 inside. On the same street, one just went up for 215. It's wrecked inside for 3 beds. So
Really?
And I'm hoping for 240. So he phoned me the other day and he's like, right, Kris, what's happening with this? Like, we're going through legals, almost done.
Yeah.
I've got this one next. I've got this one next. So he's one.
So he's not. Aye.
So he's got one of them.
Experiment with you.
Exactly. But one of the ones that he's got, so that he put me on his agent who has been brilliant for us. So she's now working with me and helping me. She's sending me leads. Also, she told me about a property he's got that's lay empty for 18 years. So I've managed to get in touch with the council who own the next door, and I'm in touch about buying his. So that'll be 2 more all money outs, basically.
Wow.
So just from doing what I said I was going to do, and
and just your word.
well, that's the thing. Like, because he said to me at the start, let's see how you got on with this, because he's had all the people come out and
I'll bet.
They'll make the offer, and then the next thing it's on Facebook groups. I've got this direct to vendor, and it's on 10 mailing lists.
What about the country knows?
Whereas that one I was wanting to keep for myself, so I had an investor for it, and then he ended up letting me down last minute.
Right.
And I managed to backfill it, which was 200 grand all in between a few investors. So I'm giving them a fixed % return on that, and then obviously that's going to build relationships with some of them. So a couple of the people that are in on it were saying basically, right, from the interest we're making, that's my next sourcing fee. One of them was my uncle, so at the start, I offered him the deal that you knocked back.
Right.
He said, not enough return. And then he phoned me, and when he saw my LinkedIn, he says, I feel like I've knocked back the Beatles here. So when I hear stuff like that, it gives you confidence. And he actually had a family trust fund, so it's like the stocks and shares.
Right.
Good 30k in it, and it's now worth 25. So he's given me the 25, and he's going to get a 10% return on that within that project, and hopefully that will get him in the next ones as well. So just when people that say no to you initially, and then now a year down the line they want to work with you, and it's like, it's a lot of money as well. It's like people don't just chuck money to anyone, so it gives you a lot of confidence when you see that. And then that just comes across online. Like at the start, someone messaged me saying, have you got a gun to your head here on these videos? Because I'm sitting, I'm terrified, and I can't get my words out, and it just sounds so unnatural. But then see, after a while, you just, it comes easy, and you've got that confidence, and then obviously people are coming in off the back of it, because they can tell he's genuine. He's not booked a view in the right move and went in and said, I'm in this investment opportunity, do you know what I mean? So well, he's actually in doing it, and he's got his build team, and then he's got this, he's got that. So I think that's quite good. You've got that legitimacy there already for having your own portfolio. Because I met up with a sourcer down there in Newcastle when I was starting out, and he was trying to slag me off for where I was buying. So I just says, oh, where's your ones then? Because he'd done 200 deals in a year, and he just fell silent. He's like, oh, I've not got any. And I went, so you've done 200 deals in a year, you're asking me for investors in this meeting, and you're not getting any houses, even though you've done all the deals. So you just obviously, for them, I was just like, focus on myself and just like try to thing me, because other folk like to ham up what they're up to. And,
Aye, that harms, doesn't it?
aye,
You know?
whereas if you focus on yourself, because it was always co-sources that were falling apart, so I just flipped right. But now I've got my own investors, I can match the deal up with the investor, which is what you teach in college.
Connect those dots.
Yeah, and it's a much better process. But I have had a few successful co-sources with people, and I'll continue to. But just managing it all yourself end to end, having your own build team, having your own investor, having your own power team, lawyers, brokers, estate agents, it's just brilliant.
More control.
Yeah.
More certainty.
And like one of the people there, I sourced a deal for them. They were in Spain, and it was a flat, and they were all in for about 54 grand, and I managed to get them 575 a month rent. So it's for a 2-bedroom flat in Washington, and I said to them, you'll get 500 rent. So straight away they're buzzing. They messaged me, do you know what I mean? They were buzzing with the builder. He's done a good job. The builder's happy as well because he's getting paid on time. So it's like you say, pros, you always bring it back to that, because you just talk about things like this, how many people you're helping.
Yeah,
and I think you think about it that way.
Yeah.
You think more positively rather than like if a builder lets you down, like you start getting negged out.
Yeah.
Okay, right, well, this builder lets me down, somebody else will be appreciative of it.
That's it.
So it's just, the mindset's probably the biggest thing I'd say, because so many things go wrong all the time.
It does, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It's a key point you're making there. I think people really need to understand that. It's great having information, it's great having knowledge, it's great having tools you can use and software and all sorts of things. It's great having that. But it's you who's using it all.
Yeah.
It's you who's talked to people. It's you who's organised the refurb. It's you who's tried to chat with an investor or a co-sourcer or whoever. So if you're not thinking right, you're going to sabotage everything.
Yeah.
If you've got some closed, negative, paranoid, sarcastic, whatever it is, you know, a kind of a thing that's going to bring you down, you'll end up destroying the deals. You'll end up destroying the relationships.
Yeah.
Whereas if it's clicked the other way and it's an upbeat mindset, an optimistic mindset, a problem-solving mindset, you've got that in spades.
Yeah.
Something will happen, you're like, right, okay, that's all right, how can we solve this? And then you jump on it and then you move on. It's a completely different thing. And the only thing that's changed is you.
Yeah.
It's your mindset.
That's it, man, because like when you think negative, it's so easy just to get bogged down, and then you'll maybe phone someone else and spout stuff off to them, and maybe they're like not doing as well, and then all of a sudden you're dragging them down without even realising it.
Correct.
And that, I was always blaming others at the start. This deal's fell apart because of him, and he's done this and he's done that. And then I had 2 deals fall apart, and I was like blaming everybody else. Then like Richard said to me, right, what could you have done better? What could you have done? Right, and the first person, I was like, right, I could have got the proof of funds maybe. I just assumed he did it because he done protege. The second person, then I was like, right, you know what? Let's just take ownership of it. And then like see, since doing that, well, everything's just been much better. So I think like a deal fell apart for me the other week. So it came through on the Friday. I had a buyer agreed, and then the seller basically used me as a pawn to get a higher offer elsewhere. And see, usually I'd be proper raging about it, but I just went, right, good luck, all the best. And he actually said to me, we feel really bad because we know the amount of work you've put in, how much you've kept us informed. But I see before, that would just derail me for about a month.
Aye, of course.
Because
you've got proof. You've got proof that it doesn't work. You've got proof that you're a failure. You've got proof that property can't be good for you. All this. You've got the real proof there to say, I'm out, white flag, I surrender, I'm off.
Aye. The only negative attitude I probably had at the end was to my work. Because I knew how much it was pulling me down, and then I didn't want to be there, but I left an invoice out at PwC,
right,
and it was quite a big one to a customer. There was like a flip deal basically, and it was a high figure,
right.
And I was outside the director's office that day, and I print out and left it, and he clocked it. And a day later, he's like, we notice you're always on Rightmove, you're always on your phone. We need to check if this is in your contract because you're printing invoices out at work. So I was like, fair enough. And that's when I kind of knew the writing was on the wall, but. That was only negative if I was, but it's like crabs in a bucket. Like if they're all negative and then it's going to drag you down, So I said to my missus, like, I need to get out there. That was my biggest fear, was telling my missus, because she's very career driven, and I'd obviously moved my full life to Newcastle and done the whole accounting degree for years.
Exactly.
But then I just thought to myself, I'm only hanging in here because my degree, because I done, like, I was training to be a chartered accountant, and then I just sent her this. I said to one of my mates, and he sent me back sunk cost fallacy. He says, that's the only reason you're hanging in. So I showed it to my missus, and she went, right, show me what deals you've got going through. And we tallied it all up, and I had a year's salary and fees going through it. So I went, right, maybe we should just quit this then. So I just went and told my work to ram it, basically, because they didn't like me. My face didn't fit in the place, and I wasn't enjoying it. So they painted it was going to be this and this, and we're happy with the property, and very quickly it wasn't. So I'm like, right, I don't like where this is going. And I got a pure stupid verbal warning. It was ridiculous. Like, honestly, it was like they were talking about watches in the office that I had mentioned that I used to have a Rolex. Someone complained, and I got a verbal warning. So I was like, right, I need to just, they're obviously wanting me to toe the line or beat it.
Yeah.
So it was a nice day on the Wednesday, and I woke up and I just said to my missus, I'm not going in there today. So I phoned in sick, and then the next day after I phoned in again, I just told her I'm not going back there. So and that's when we'd done it all. And then I just went and just handed them the laptop on Friday and says, like, she's like, this isn't for me. Got a few swift unfollows that day, and you see them all looking at me on LinkedIn and stuff. But do you know what it is? I was nice to everybody there. You just know you're into something different for them. And if I stayed in that to hang in for my accounting degree, I would have been travelling an hour a day to work, on site for 8 hours and an hour back. But then obviously there's all the extra work as well. Maybe if the client doesn't bring stuff in time, you're on a deadline to sign the accounts. So there's all that stuff. You're not getting paid for it. So I said to my missus, imagine what I could do with 50 hours more for the property stuff. And she just says, like, she works from home sometimes, and she hears me and she says, I'm not worried now. I was at the start, but just see what I see, what you're up to, and how, like, you'll just go out and drive to get something, and you'll go and do deals. So I chucked it about a month ago.
Right.
And I think I've done 4 deals since chucking it. So, and I've had my first completion come through. So she's starting to see the money coming in. All of a sudden, she wants to book holidays, shows, carpets.
Oh, I see.
But I said to her, man, like, we need to build ourselves first, then we can get that. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
But she's obviously getting excited to seeing it. And for me, seeing her buy in the most is probably what, because see, at the start, she's like, why are you wasting your time with all this? Like, why are you doing this? What? And I just said to her, give me time, like, something will happen. And she's like, you're always talking about this coming and this is coming, and it always falls apart. And I'm like, please, just give it a year and see. And then once things started dropping, she's like, you're getting carried away now, because I was talking about quitting work. And then she just seen it going, like, it was like a big snowball going down the ringway, and then all of a sudden it's massive. And then she turned around and she actually, because I didn't want to quit. Like, you know, I did, but I didn't.
Right.
And then she went, right, just there. And then see, since then, I've not looked back and just see if he'd been away for that, because you felt like an outsider getting in. I remember I was taking a call one day, and I'm in, I was calling an investor, right, but you could see them, you could feel them all looking at you. But it was like a school, so all the workers were there on this desk, so you can see your laptops, you've got the partners there, and you've got the managers there, and the workers are in there.
Right.
So you're trying to do things and speak to investors and that, and you're on your phone, you know what I mean? You're like, they're watching your every move. So I just said, like, I need to just get out, because it's nagging me out, and then if it nags me out, I'm not going to have time to do my other things.
That's it.
And, like, since quitting as well, I'm just, like, constant out every day chasing things. I just make sure I'm doing positive. I've not really got a structure yet, but I just know as long as I'm contacting an agent a day, doing viewings, speaking to people, speaking to investors, posting on social media, I know if I just keep doing that, things will come of it. And then obviously I'm working on getting my structure still, so you can maybe give a few pointers back, because I know you're stuff time management.
Yeah, get your structure. That's amazing. It's brilliant, the action you've taken. It's brilliant, the kind of connections you've made, the projects you've done. And you're right, it's that big snowball. But folk just look at the big snowball.
Yeah.
Oh, he's lucky. He found that snowball. No, he never. He started with that.
I know.
And he rolled it. And he made it become that. You know, that's what you've done. Your action is incredible.
I appreciate it, but that's the thing as well. Like, see, when people reach out to me, I'll tell them, I'll say, look, man, I can give you the coffee shop pitch, or we can meet up and I can show you what I'm up to. And like, now I'm at the stage where people are reaching out, and I had like this Dutch guy reach out and he said to me, I've got money here, I'll not buy any of your deals just for a while, I want to see your quality of deals.
Right.
And within about a week I've sent him like 10 deals or something, and he just said to me, I really appreciate this enthusiasm.
Wow.
So that's good as well, because you're just taking the action, and then see from it, you've had people saying your deal flow is really good, like this is about, because you'll have something every day, because I've had other sources down there, I've got this, you'll maybe put it out to a few people that have paid their fees and stuff like that, and they're saying you're getting stuff all the time, and then see just from that, you're just constantly wanting to chase the deals. So you obviously say, protege, find deals, you'll find the money. So I'm just focusing on like going out and getting the deals, and I'm at a stage now where it's going well. But that's another thing as well. I was like away at Switzerland, the investor said to me, he messaged me on the Sunday night and he said like, how do you feel about coming out on Friday? And I booked my flights there and then. My missus was raging, right? But I says to her, look, it's going to be...
This is a business choice, this is a holiday high.
I booked it there and then, and the boy was impressed with that. And that's the thing as well about one of the things about quitting work's been best for my mindset, because they're seeing the value in you. He's a banker, a Swiss banker. He's a director at the bank he's in. It's a global bank. And he's asking you for advice. And then you go back to work on the Monday and they're chewing you out because you've not got this sample in for this audit. And you're just like... Where's the balance? That I mean, these are making me feel like an idiot. They're paying me peanuts. Yeah. But then on the other hand, you've got these people wanting to chuck money at you that are
holy value in you,
that are massive. So he's funded a deal. I'm going to do a BRR on it. So he's getting a fixed % return. And it's like,
explain that one to folks listening might not understand BRR.
Aye, so BRR basically is buy, refurbish, refinance and rent out. So I've picked a property up. It's worth about 55k in its current value. Right. Managed to secure a bit of a discount in 50. And then the refurb's about 15.5 on it, and it's going to be worth about 85 to 90 done up. But serviced accommodation's a strategy that we've been looking at as well. So I've got one in here in Glasgow.
Right.
So I'm going to do serviced accommodation, which I should get about £80 a night at 70% occupancy. Nice. So, and that's PMI's been backing that up, the property market intel.
So doing all the research and stuff. Right?
So I've heard DNA, I've met up with some people that do the Airbnb stuff. So I'm looking at it. That's going to be my first one. I'm going to be self-managing. So I'm looking to expand into that. Because William Smythe, who used to be in the tribe, he's managing my one in Glasgow, and I got my invoice in at the end of the month. The management fee he's creaming, and he's got about 20 of them. So I'm like, I want myself something else.
I want something.
And I actually texted him today, and he's away down to the Man City Real Madrid game. So I'm like, he's got a box here, man. He's obviously doing something right. So
brilliant.
Just from stuff like that. Like I would see when I'd done Provision, I'd never have done anything like that. BRR, I just want something ready to lay out. I don't want to deal with that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Even when I got my BRR, my first one, I walked in and I'm just like, what have I done? Like, honestly, I walked in and I'm like, this place is disgusting. And then I had issues with builders and stuff like that, and everything that could have went wrong in this job.
Did it?
Like, one of the builders that was on had a bit of a habit. So the copper went missing on the job and he traded it in for something. And then, honestly, anything that could have went wrong did. He was saying he was there and he wasn't there. He was like, it was a nightmare. And then I ended up getting it finished, and I was in for about 55 grand all in,
right?
And I've got 54,375 out of it. So it cost me 600 quid, and I got all that experience out of it as well. So when I just looked at it, I was like, look, I know what I don't want in my next one. This went wrong, brilliant. I know how to avoid it in the future. This is how I'd have managed it better. So because it was my first one as well, and then see now I've got one that kicked off yesterday, one that finished off the other week. So I went in with the builder yesterday, and we got the plan laid out and stuff like that. And it's actually 5 doors down for that one I got. So I showed that to the investor. I says, look, this area is a bit rough, but you'll get all your money out, and that's what you want now. So,
here's an example.
And his one's actually in better nick than my one was. So he's happy with that, and he's going to get his cash out and go again. Do you know what I mean? And then obviously, like through managing the builders and just being on site every day, you're learning what actually goes in here, refurb, how to make it tick. So you're learning every time, and it's good. So because I've got quite a few that are due to kind of complete at different stages. So I've got something like 7 deals just now in legals.
All active.
Aye, and I've picked 3 of them for myself. So I've got 1 flip for myself, a BRR for myself, then like a buy to let for myself,
right?
And then the rest are for investors.
Fine.
But it's just like, see if honestly, I wrote down my goals at the start of the year, and I wanted to do 10 deals in a year.
Did you?
And see, when I'm looking back, I'm like, that was not ambitious enough, because I think I've done a lot of. I need to actually do something where I've maybe the address purchase price that to tally it all up to see where I'm at, because I don't know if I've hit my milestone. I've probably have for it. I don't know, because you're just constantly right, boom, next one. So I'll maybe do that. I've not even set my Trello up last year, and I've not done anything with it, because I've just been out hammering.
You've been too busy.
Honestly, I'm just like deals, investor. So I need to take a step back and to get the Trello in place, because I'm good at following up with stuff. But if I've got that mothball section, I know exactly, because some of them maybe slip the net and you forget about it.
That's right, a deal that doesn't complete for whatever reasons, timing, something.
Yeah.
Who knows? Could be anything.
Aye.
As those deals come back, It's amazing how many times those deals come back to you.
Aye, it's always a follow-up for me that's like, if it gets rejected the first time, then you follow up maybe a couple of weeks later. But I'll write it down in my diary, but sometimes you just get that swept away. You don't. So I do need to get better at the system side of things. But it's just because like I'm dedicating my time to getting the deals and building it now. But I'm at a stage now where deals are coming in, so maybe right, take a step back and get my systems in place so I go to that next level.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But aye, it's
a brilliant mindset you've got there, because you've got one where you're talking about learning. Did this project and all these things went wrong, but I learned a ton of stuff. That's a great mindset to do, because you never stop learning.
No.
You never stop learning. No. And then you've got that kind of self-responsibility thing in your head. It's dead obvious in the way you talk. I've got all this going on, and that's what people will hear. Look at the stuff he's got, look at the projects he's doing. But you aren't looking at that. You're stepping by going, I need to do that better, and I need to do that better, and I need to do. You're always looking for improvements.
Yeah.
You're always looking for a way to improve and develop. That's tremendous.
Aye, well, I think that's one of the reasons I do protege as well, because like, fair enough, man, I've got my flats and stuff like that, but when I got to 10, I always say I want to get to 10, and then I took my foot off the gas for a year, and then I'm like, I was buying a house in Airdrie, and it fell apart, so I had the money sitting, and I was like, right, I'm just going to blow this if I don't do anything with it.
Yeah.
So that's when I just went, but protege, and for me, see, since doing that, I think the self-development's been a big thing for us. Obviously doing a lot of the running and stuff, the challenges, but I need to lose a bit, because I was just stressed at my work, so I didn't want to be there. You're in an office job and you're just caning the food. So I've getting myself back out and getting my steps in and stuff, but I think like everything all falls off the back of that, like having a healthy mind and a good mindset. So because when you're being negative, you're sluggish, you've ate rubbish, sugar, coffees and all that.
Just a vicious cycle.
It's never it, and then you're just sitting in front of a screen all day just doing numbing work. Like the thing is, it was doing audit, so see if it wasn't for accounting standards, see if audits weren't needed, folk wouldn't do it. They're just there because they need you there by law, and you're not doing any meaningful work. It's not as if you're solving complex solutions. You're basically a glorified admin assistant, like, because you're just ticking in samples and doing this, whereas when you're doing stuff like property, you're just constantly problem solving, you're constantly having to engage your brain, and then obviously you're learning. So I've done that BRR, and then you're moving into your next thing, and then all of a sudden I'm doing a flip with 200 grand in. Like, and I'm like, I actually stopped to think the other day, because the investor let me down.
Right.
And I was like, I need to fill this deal because this seller has 48 other houses. So I went, and a guy was going to take the deal from me, he was going to buy, and I says, look, I'm not trying to be salesy of that, but I'm going to keep this for myself if I can. I says, I've got about 100 grand there, like, pledged. So if you don't make a decision that somebody comes up with the funding, I'm taking it. And then on the day that he said, like, I'm getting my funding sorted, somebody messaged me that I had a call with on LinkedIn. I was talking to you before we started.
Right, this is again.
Aye, he came on LinkedIn, he messaged me, and I missed it the first time. And then he messaged me back a few days later. We had a call that night, and he had a couple hundred grand there. So I says, look, I've got X, Y, and Z. And I says, because he was wanting to do loads of different things. So we went, right, we can do this, we can do that. So he said, right, let me think on it. I sent him the pack, and then he messaged me at the same time as our investor saying, I'll give you 100 grand. And that's what I needed. So I messaged the investor, said, look, I've got this. And that investor was like, look, no hard feelings, but I'm desperate for the next one. So it worked out in the end, but I did say to him at the point, I says, I'm not trying to be salesy, because I want this for myself, because it's, do I trade that on and get a fee for a few grand, or do I go and do that flip and I've got it on my online, like, to show off my CV and the profit at the end of it, because it's going to be about 20 grand profit. So do you want to project management and trade the one for the fee, or do you want to go in and make the money? Do you know what I mean? You want to make the money. But I'd like, I'm doing that no blinking an eye now, whereas see before, it's just daunting, like, having to go and ask investors for, like, you're a bag of nails. But I was thinking about this the way up, and it was something like 450 grand I've raised since Protege. And including this 200, and then I've paid out 20 odd to investors already as well. So I've got all that there, and then my referral fees I've paid out. You can show that your proof of work online, and you can't really argue with that, because you get a lot of people saying, I'm doing this and I'm doing this. Well, show me, and they don't. And then I'm just like, look, I've done this, here's my referral fee I've paid, here's my reviews for people, do you know what I mean? So I just need to keep doing that. Just be genuine, be honest, don't mess people about.
Aye.
And
deliver a good service.
Aye, well, I think I am. Like,
you definitely are.
I drove down to meet that investor the other day in London. That was a 10.5 hour round trip. And he messaged me after it saying, I'm really happy you've came down and stuff, because you can see what
speaks volumes.
Yeah, well, he sees that, and he sees that you're serious and you want to build, and you like each other a bit more as well. So, because you could meet each other and think, this guy's not really for me. Like, he's all that on the phone, but he's different. Aye. the guy was bang on, and like we were talking about how we can collaborate in the future and stuff. So, and this guy's a director of a company that's turning over a lot of money. I was in his office. There's about 100 staff there.
Right.
But he was saying to one of the guys, said like, don't let them know who he is, because I was the most of the property. Because like, I don't want them to think I'm distracted. So you're dealing with people like that, and then see, just from speaking to them on a daily basis, all of a sudden your mindset does shift, because you're like, right, I'm not doing good enough here. I've got 10, fair enough, but I want what he's got. I want 100. Do you know what I mean? Aye, without even noticing
helping each other.
Is the conversation goes from, did you watch a Fitbit? Do you want to go to the pub and get a drink, do this, to talk about setting businesses up and buying houses, and can we do this and do that? And it just by nature, you're just having better conversations, and then you're kind of, there's nothing up. We obviously want to go and get the pub. No, I've done it. I still say it as well, but it's just like, I'm at the stage now, I'm 31, know what I mean? I've done well to get where I'm at, but I want to be at that next level where I really just build something the next few years. And obviously I've burnt my bridges in the accounting world as well, because of the way I went out and I blaze a glory in PwC and other place. So I know that's not an option to go back, but for me, that's the motivation to not go back, because I remember what it's like. You're working the 50-hour weeks and stuff, and you're depressed, and so that's my motivation as well, because I don't want to ever go back to that. I want to be out and about, meeting people, doing deals, just doing good work, and obviously as well helping people, because that's what it's all about at the end of the day. Like when people come through my leads and stuff like that, and maybe it's not for me, I always look to help them. So there's a guy in a bit of financial trouble, and I couldn't help him for the price he was looking at. I thought I put him on to an agent. The agent's delighted because he's then getting the sale for it.
Yeah.
The guy's delighted because he's got a buyer for him.
Oh, brilliant.
So I always look to help someone where I can. That's always my angle. Like, even if I can't help them there and then. So I've had calls with people and I can't help them, but I'll give them advice anyway or whatever, do you know what I mean? Because I was looking for advice when I came out of protege, and
that's it.
You spend time with your people that are doing stuff like David Smart and Barry Wilson and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And they're spending time with you even though they've got a lot going on and you've nothing to offer them. So and then obviously you never know what's going to come off the back of it as well, because then you could end up doing something down the line. Because I always remember, right, Barry and David were brilliant with your protege. So if I get something, right, if I've maybe got a deal in airdrie there, Barry, I know this is your patch, and try and do something together.
That's it.
Whereas
just helping each other, paying it forward, sharing on advice, information, whatever, or it's an actual deal, actual money project or whatever it is. That's class. I was just thinking there, so we're throwing these words around because we're both kind of in the game, sourcing, investors, this, that and the other. I think there's a lot of folks, especially if they're kind of watching and listening, and they're not in the game yet, but they're fascinated with property. They don't understand that this is actually a service that exists.
Yep.
People are there with, maybe they're busy, they're company owners, they're doing really well, they're a successful gardening business, printing business, whatever the hell it is, and they know they need to invest, they know they should invest, they know they've got profits, they know that property is a brilliant thing, but they haven't got the time for it. They don't know how to find a deal, they don't know how to structure it, they can't manage a project for the refurb, they can't do it, they know they need to, they should, but they can't. That's where you come in. That's where guys like you come in. You can actually give that service. And we're chatting away here that, I sourced this, I sourced that. But that's what you can actually do for folks, isn't it?
Yeah. So deal sourcing is basically, for anybody watching it doesn't really know. So I'll have a call, for example, say Richard's an investor, and we'll have an initial call and we'll just kind of set out what his goals are. So, right, what's your end goal? Right, I want X amount of properties in this time. I've got this cash. This is how I want to go about it. Or some people maybe have a pot of cash and they don't know what they want. So you try and obviously get that out of them at the call, right? What's your goals? Like, we need to set a criteria down, and then basically go out and help them for them. So the last deal I sourced for someone, they were based in Spain. I sourced the deal, I negotiated the price, I got the build team in, I got the quote for them, I managed the full refurb, and then I put the keys to the letting agent. And now it's been rented out, so they've not stepped foot in that property once.
They just enjoyed Spain.
So you call that a turnkey service because all you need to do is turn the key and then that's it. But they didn't even have to do that because they were in Spain. So
that's amazing.
So there's loads deal sourcing, joint venturing, where maybe that's like someone puts the money up and you get the deal and you'll maybe split the profits. A fixed percentage return if you maybe want the returns for property.
That's a good point. Folk when those business owners and when they've got the profits and stuff, they might not necessarily actually want the property.
No,
I don't want it. I don't want to become a landlord. I know property's great, but the other option is I can get you a return.
Yeah,
They can actually get you a better return than you're getting in the bank, a better return than the stock market. I bet you know all these different kind of options.
Yep.
And you can provide it through something safe and secure like a property.
Well, that's it. So the deal I'm doing just now, the fixed percentage return.
Yeah.
A couple of investors are getting a charge on the property, which means I can't sell.
Security.
Aye, so
Yeah.
I mean they're getting a 10% return within 6 to 9 months, and the property's secured. So it's like I can't go and sell that and run away with the money, basically.
Yeah.
So it's because it's my first time dealing with some of them. I want to show them what I'm about, and I said to them, look, you don't usually get returns like this, just to let you know. I says, there's enough in it to give you, so why not?
Right.
Make it attractive for the two of you, right? While still, I'm happy with what I'm getting, do you know what I mean? And they're happy with what they're getting, because one of them's never done property, wants to get involved.
He's a bit nervous about it, a bit cautious.
That he wants to learn more, so he's going to come up and see the project and meet the team, because he's looking to go beyond this and do long term. And the guy in Switzerland's the same. He's like, this is our trial run. But see, just for seeing what I've been up to, and you're speaking to him and telling him what you're doing. He's got 2 properties in the northwest. He just went and Rightmove and knew he had to buy property. Bought a $100,000 flat that only makes him a couple of quid a month. He bought a $200,000 one. So he's at me saying, I need to sell these to invest now, because he's kind of seen the way. So it's good, because you get these people that know they need to get involved, probably like you say, but they just go on Rightmove and they'll maybe take something that's $150,000 that's only making them 100 quid a month.
That's it.
Just because
aren't right.
Yeah, they're just told, oh, buy property, and that's what I was told when you were younger. You save up and buy a house. Like, I thought that was just the way you done it. So I'm scrimping and scraping every penny for my buy-to-lets and stuff. Luckily, the interest rates were low at the time, so I was cash flowing a good amount, and I was doing it the hard way. And then I'm seeing all these people getting 15 houses a year, and I'm like, how are they doing that? And then that's where Protege came in, because obviously Richard kind of pointed me the way. So I mean, it is mad, because I've been on that other side of it and think that was the only way you can get something's off right.
Yeah, you don't know what you don't know.
What's that?
This must be the way.
There's a full market out there that folk don't even know exists, because there's stuff that's coming and it's not even making it to Rightmove.
That's right. So get on the market.
Aye, it's like Fight Club, except everybody talks about it.
Except everybody does. What an amazing journey, man. It's unreal. Do you sometimes kind of pinch yourself about how fast and how amazing you're doing?
So I when I was in the group as well, and like I was just making sure I was more vocal in it, talking about what I've been up to and stuff like that, just to show people, and obviously build your skills on the camera and stuff as well.
That's right.
And then when things start to drop off, and then like things actually start to come off, and then you're like, all of a sudden you're over here doing this, and then Paul's shouting you out and stuff like that, and he's not just going to do that for the sake of it. Obviously, you need to earn that, do you know what I mean? And then all of a sudden people are reaching out to you cold, like, I've got this, I've got that, like, can you help me? And your confidence just goes. But it's like when I was in Switzerland, we were going up the ski lift, and I'm just like I can't believe it's one of the moments where I'm thinking, like, they tell you about this in Protege, ain't bigger and stuff like that, but you end up in this situation somehow, you don't really take stock. And then when I quit my job, I went out and had a few beers that night to celebrate, and I was proper buzzing, but at the same time I'm like, geez, it's serious now. And then, but the next week I done my first deal within a couple of days, and then straight away the nerves just settled, because you're like, I've got that first one under my belt now, and then I've just keep going and plugging away. And then on my way up here this morning, I sold a deal and stuff like that. So
I sell it in the car on the way up.
That's
brilliant.
I was knocking my pan in 50 hours a week. If I wasn't knocking my pan at the end, I was skying. So sorry to PwC, you ended up there. I was a man down. So you're making more money for doing these deals than what you were doing with working all month. But at the same time, I've never been as scared in my life, because it's going into all these other projects.
So you're moving the money around, you need a clever investor, and right, I need to put it there, I need to put it there.
Exactly, but so I've got all these deals going on, but I'm probably I'm overdrafting now, do you know?
What's your cash flow?
Aye. So the cash flow is quite good for me, because I've got my serviced accommodation and govern, so that's doing quite well. I've got good equity in my houses that I might look at taking out down the line, but my goal is to own them at the end. So I know some people want to go interest over for the cash flow, but this is like my pension, so I want to own them at the end, so I don't mind to sacrifice each one. So I'm making good cash flow off them, but I don't really touch it. And then obviously I'm looking to just keep building aggressively. So but obviously at the moment I'm skinned at the moment at times, you know what I mean? But I know it's all coming in, and it's all working. It's all in good stuff. It's not as if I'm getting paid and I'm going out and blowing it and getting steaming and doing this and doing that. I'm making sure it's parked into a deal or something like that, and I don't do any stocks or anything like that, but I know with property, so I started off the year with 10, and then I think I'm adding 3 just now to my portfolio. Well, one's a flip, so 2 in my portfolio.
Right.
So I'm picking up 2 assets in the year. So if you can keep doing that and then snowball it, that's all you can do. And then I've got a refinance that's landing today. So I'm going to probably do a post later because there's going to be 54 grand come in, and then 5 minutes later there's going to be nothing because it's just going to other deals. So it's like you see memes about it and stuff, and it's like when you get the money in for refinance and some of the money stuff, and then 5 minutes later and it's Ian Beale saying I've nothing left. That's exactly how it is. But I think that's important as well, because there's some people I know that maybe remortgage the house and just think that's free money and they go and blow it. So like I know someone there remortgaged their house, took 30 grand down, and I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. They've done nothing to their house, they've blew the money, and then like you're like, well, what have you done with that? And then you're in the house and it's not maybe looking as good as what it could be. You're like,
so it's just wasted,
and you need to pay it back. It's not as if it's not free money. Do you know what I mean? You need to pay it back. So I'm just making sure like that one that I bought there, it's only going to cash flow me a couple £100 a month. But if it's cash flowing me now at 5.5%,
right,
when the rates come back down, I'm going to be laughing.
Right.
Plus I've got a tenant in there that's really happy with the finish, and they're going to be in there for a while, and there's going to be no maintenance issues, touch wood, because I've done a full refurb. So you just need to look at the positive stuff. Do you know what I mean? It's a get rich slow scheme property. You know what I mean? It definitely is. But hopefully I'll be looking back in a year's time and I've added maybe 10 units to my portfolio, and then I can start enjoying myself and relaxing a bit. But I think when you grow up in like a scheme and stuff like that, and comfy where you're comfy, man, you have that kind of mindset that like you need to try and keep it as much as possible and keep going, because nothing's to stop you losing it if you just take your foot off the gas. And when I moved to Newcastle, I took my foot off the gas for a year, and then like I went back to work, and I'm like, what have I done with that year? I went on holidays, I've done this, and it was during COVID still. Sad, I was doing my masters, but that cost me 11 grand to do. So there's 11 grand I could have invested. Then obviously the money I blew because I was going on holidays, and like it's my last summer before I start work, like. And then I just look back and I'm like, I could have hammered it out. But the hindsight's 2020 in it, so I look at it and I'm like, fair enough, I did that, but now I'm in now and I'm doing the things that I said I should have been doing. So I think I'm making up for lost time the way I'm going. So I just
taking off for about 4 lives. Unbelievable.
So I just need to like, it's annoying looking back, but it's done now. Do you know what I mean?
That's history.
If I was going to do it at the time, I'd have done it. Ever. So I was more interested in other things and like going on holidays at the time and stuff like that. And you know what I mean? It was still lockdown, playing FIFA all day and stuff. So my missus actually said to me the other day, she's like, you've been out all day on viewings and doing this. And I went, well, you won this and this and this. It's not going to happen if I'm sitting in the house vegging, which I was doing during COVID. Do you know what I mean? So she's like, nah, fair enough. Do you know what I mean? So she's quite supportive because I'm out away a lot. And
you must be.
When I was working full time, I was coming home from work and doing property stuff till I fell asleep. Weekends, I was up at 7 in the morning doing my admin, and then out for 9 on viewings. So she's happy now that I'm doing it full time, but we're still to strike that balance as well, where like I could see a bit more of her. Do you know what I mean? So
that's important.
she sees the value in it, and that's the main thing. Like, because at the start she just thought it was all pie in the sky stuff.
That's certainly understandable.
Everybody is really, because you're talking about this and that, and it's big figures you're talking at times. So folk are like, who does he think he is? Do you know what I mean? But then obviously like when I first done my LinkedIn video, my first one, I was terrified. Folk are sending screenshots, slagging me off. See, 3 months down the line, the same people are slagging me want to invest in it, and it's just, and you all talk about this at Protege.
And you've got a guy, was it LinkedIn as well? The guy just sent you 50 grand without you even signing a contract. LinkedIn as well.
So he messaged me on LinkedIn,
what on earth?
And I sent him a deal, and he's put the money in, and I'm going to bridge the rest of it.
Yeah.
And he literally sent it, and I was like, hold on, we need something binding. But see, just stuff like that, and then. It's just things like that give you confidence, I suppose, because it gives you that kind of, see, it start with investors, you're kind of pussyfooting around a bit and not getting to the point. Whereas, see, now you've got that confidence that if this person is going to waste my time, right, it sharpens my skills for the next presentation, and the next one's going to be a yes. Whereas, see, before you're proper dancing around it and you're scared to ask him for the fee and you're scared to do this and that.
Yeah.
And the guy in London that I met, asked him for the fee up front, and he said to me, he's like, I couldn't believe the confidence for you to do that. And he's like, I wasn't going to do it. And then he's like, do you know what? Let's just play his game and see. And he's like, I'm glad I've did it now. Do you know what I mean? So, like stuff like that, when people turn around and he does sales for a living, so he's like, he sells solar panels, which is hardcore sales. So when people like that are commending you and stuff, then it's like, fair enough, man. Like maybe I'm up decent. But that's just the background I've had, obviously, in sales and holiday rating and that all comes together, and
Skills.
aye, it helps you in property because you need to wear so many different hats. So you're like customer service, you're the therapist to some people, like you're an agony aunt, you're the salesman, you're everything, do you know what I mean?
The gaffer, well, the train.
Aye.
Is there a bit of everything to you?
It honestly is, man. There's no kind of 2 days where you're doing the exact same thing, I think. Which is what I enjoy about it. I like being out and about.
That variety.
I meet people and doing deals with people and helping people. So there's like one person that basically they were stuck in their mortgage and they went up to like 8% rate, and I'm managing to get them out of that hassle but still get money to walk away with. But there's sometimes that doesn't work. There's a girl that came through, she was getting repossessed, and I offered her 75 grand for it. She had a commercial downstairs, residential upstairs, which she rented out during COVID to gangsters that turned into a garden centre. She claimed she never knew, but she did. But anyway, I offered her 75. She owed the bank 60. She said no. And then a couple of weeks later, went on auction for 61. So you're like, I've offered her an out there, and we walk away with 15 grand. And she's not took it. She's walked away with nothing. But you can't help some people. She's obviously just got greedy. She told me she had an offer for 100. And I says, only go and take it then. And then a week later, she's phoning me. And I says, why are you phoning me? You've got an offer for 100. Do you know what my offer is? And then I saw her on auction. And I just messaged her saying, it's a real shame. Like, I'm sorry. I did, and then she was trying to phone me after it, saying, like, well, I'll still sell to you. And I was like, you can't. It's the bank and repo duct. So you try to help some people. Like, some people don't tell you the full story when you meet them. It's like, I met one girl, and this is another one I tried to help. She wanted 170 grand for her house and I offered her 150.
Right.
She knocked it back, and then I was on Rightmove the other day just following up on stuff, and she's reduced it to 115 on auction with a guide price of 125. And I'm like, that. Why did you not just take the 150? Do you know what I mean? It's just stupid, but she's get greedy, thinking I'll get this, and then she's went to auction. Like, with that kind of thing, I just don't want to go back to it. I think that's bad karma because I've offered her 150. I don't want to go and sweep up for 115 now when she's 35 grand down, the same buyer. So I've got a wee bit of ethics that way. Like, definitely go out to that folk off, and if I've offered them, they say no, and then they come back, like, with stuff like that, I'm just like, nah, just leave it. Didn't want the first time. I know some people maybe jump on it, have folk other ways, but I just think that, like...
Nah, you know, he's still their own, I suppose, you know. Right, last question for you. I know you're a very busy man, getting people to sell and stuff. This mental journey that you've been on, and you've so much underway just now, what do you think you've learned about yourself?
Probably that I'm very persistent and I take action, basically. So I think that's probably the main thing is... that I'll just go for it and take the risks and back myself. So I think that's the thing as well. When you're doing like the entrepreneurship thing as well, it's tough at times. Like, had so much, you have all these people telling you to do it, and you're kind of going and doing it, and then all of a sudden things start to come off. People now want to be associated with you. So I'd probably say that the risk takings from myself is the main thing I've learned about myself. I'll back myself and I'll go for it, because what would have happened if I'd done Prology? I've spent the money on it, but I've learned stuff that will help me for my portfolio. But the biggest risk for me is going back to work for someone else, do you know what I mean? Because you don't get paid well, you're at the mercy of them, and you can just get cut in a minute the minute you're more used to them. So I think my ability to just back myself, I would think, I've learned that about myself, that I'm just destined to do my own thing for me. Well, I hope it is anyway. I hope in a year's time this isn't aged like milk and I'm back with my tail between my legs doing the books for people, you know what I mean?
Highly doubt, oh man, the way you're going.
I don't know.
Unstoppable.
Well, I hope so.
Back yourself, I like that. I got to back myself. I bloody love that. That's a crying takeaway for folks to think about. I love that. We'll finish that there. But this man, so the show notes, click into the show notes, because all the links to Kristoffer's stuff is there, and you might be lucky. You might be one of those investors looking for him to source a property for you, for him to do the turnkey solution, do all the refurb for you. Maybe you don't want the property, maybe you just want some of those, fixed returns and stuff. He's got so much that he can give, and if you're lucky enough, you might just get to work with him. Kristoffer, for your time in the show, thanks a million, my man.
Thanks very much.
Appreciate it.
Cheers.
Remember, with the guests that you just saw, go into the show notes for the page, because all of their links are there so that you can get in touch and to get more information. And talking about getting more information, more guests, more insights, more knowledge, etc., make sure you're subscribed. Get the subscription done, get the notifications on, and then we'll always keep in touch with you every single time a brand new show is going to come out. So thanks for tuning to This Week in Property.